Alrighty, everybody, are you ready for this week's episode of Iron Gods?
Yay!
I think so.
Oh, this is gonna be a big one, everybody. All of Cassandali's little submissions have been submitted, and they have been confirmed to be completed. So now there's only the two primary missions to be done, and both are technically the same mission. They're just two halves of that same mission. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. My name is Luke Kenny, one of the DMs of Take 10 Gaming, and also the founder of the YouTube channel. And from your left to right after me, we have our four lovely players. We have Sarah Hitchkin, our Callistrian badass, and her Wasp familiar Salt, played by Scott Gaffey. And
Hi.
oh, there he is. Okay, he got the prompt. Okay, good. And after that, we have a very opposite character, Peter Hastings, a paladin of Sarenrae, and our local good boy, played by Maddie Thompson.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wonder if anyone watches this in the morning. I wonder if anyone watches this at all.
Nah,
I'll have to check the stats. After that, we have Taryn Gates, our eccentric, fireball-friendly Aasimar and sorcerer with a rifle, played by Kyle Hyatt.
Bitches ain't shit.
But hoes and tricks.
And remember, kids, everyone can be a bitch.
That is true.
And if you're a bitch, you're usually crazy.
Mm.
This is like one of those square and rhombus and square things. Is one always the other, but the other isn't always the first? Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, this is Pathfinder. Let's go on to the final but not last member of our group, Von Elnash, known as Von Warnheis, played by Chaz Blair. What's going on, my guy?
Fuck you,
Life's
Chaz.
alright.
Life's all right. Well, that's all we're asking for at the moment. All right, so let's get this show on the road and kill the lo-fi and start the sci-fi.
I'm down.
And this time, I remembered to mute the other tab so you didn't hear that opening thing in twos.
Kill me instead.
Trust me, I'll try. Good. Last time on Iron Gods, the heroes made their way into the astrogation deck and found a very interesting assortment of gribblies. Amongst robots and cultists and gargoyles alike, they also came across a strange figure that you see there on the background image. A outer dragon, a dragon of space, but not time, known as Becrux, one of the more powerful allies aligned to Unity and its divine goals. Well, as true heroes come, our heroes, like the spine dragon at the entrance of Silvermount, saw that Becrux was slain and rent asunder, literally from the inside out, by our little Callistrian badass over here. And a small fraction of his horde was taken. And with that, a terrifying blow to Unity's morale was struck.
Yeah.
And after a bit of a rest, we return to our heroes on the final leg of their journey. All they need do now is take on Unity itself, the Iron God, or Iron God to be. But in order to do this, they would have to make their way into the computer core and into what Unity referred to as the God Mind. What that is, we'll have to find out later on, but even if they do actually wipe out Unity in the God Mind, Unity would still have somewhere left to run to. That is the Overlord robot. So, not wanting to have any loose ends, the heroes have to first take out this backdoor exit that Unity has set for itself by destroying the most powerful aggregate robot probably The most powerful aggregate robot, probably on Galorian. Probably in the material it's hard to say. I wouldn't say universe, but definitely on Galorian. And it is at this point that we return to our heroes as they ride the monorail back to secondary engineering, to the now locked door of that level. What awaits our heroes? Probably a giant robot and other nightmarish stuff. So let's see how this one plays out.
Let it be known that we took a nap before coming.
Yes. You all did rest, and you all are fully healed. You have all your spell slots, all of that fun stuff.
And I read a good book.
And Sarah finishes reading her book finally.
Fucking nerd.
Says the mage.
I'm a sorcerer. I don't need to read.
Oh yeah. What? You're a historian.
I don't need to read. I just do it though. It's my job. I don't do it because I like it.
Fair enough. All right,
I
heroes.
love it.
We are not moving to the map yet, so we are just going to keep things as they are now. Let me pull this up for my reading pleasure. First of all, here we go. You have reached monorail station secondary engineering. A cute little chime registers.
Secondary engineering.
Old benches, many of them broken into fragments, adorn this room. And to the south, a large metal cage sits atop a metal wedge, that being the monorail station. As you all remember, you have to go to the... You know your way to get to where you want to go, but is there anything you'd like to do beforehand?
I don't think so.
Okay. In which case, we will have you all make your way there. And as you make your way finally to the aforementioned door, to the Populous workshop, I shall read. A gleaming metal cylinder adorned with fins, tubes, and lighting hangs by a dozen chains from the ceiling. Massive industrial supports, devices, and tools litter every working surface of the area. Now that the place is powered, it is, well lit in this area, so you can actually see what you're doing, which is pretty nice. But there is someone trying to make their way into the room you're trying to make your way into already.
Does he have a weird mustache?
Oh.
Yes, he does.
God damn it.
Fiddling at the door as you all make your way in is a very surprised Galton Delver. So allow us to change the scene to here. You have to scroll way on down, everybody.
Shit. Though that's my third least favorite thing to do.
Not much of an exciting little token, but Reynold de Blau, also just simply known as de Blau by our sorcerer.
Yeah, you forgot to scream it into your mic, or it'll be heard in space.
Oh yeah, sorry. De Blau! There you go.
I'll make, if only I could have popped up a warning for our headphone users. But, yes, you do that, and if, Peter's clanking of his full plate wasn't enough to give that he's being snuck up upon, the Galton expert, spins around with a bit of a flare and draws a rapier and points it towards the lot of you, only to realize that it is you, and say, "Oh, you finally made your way to it. Seems, Taryn."
You human cocksweat. What are you doing here?
I think you know very well what I am doing here, Monsieur Gates. I am here for that technological artifact, and I will have it before you do.
De Blau, I've killed so many things today. Actually, it's been a week. I've killed so many things in this place. Please, for the sake of our mentor, don't try to go in there.
Come on, Taryn. I'm fairly I'm very learned as to the contents of this place. I've gotten here before you have, in fact. I have been here for over a month at this point. So many robots have I been able to trance as they were distracted by the lot of you. And he kind of waves his rapier towards a lot of you. He's still armed, but he's not taking on an aggressive stance whatsoever. It is unfortunate that all of the allied members of the people that I brought in here had to be sacrificed, but such is the way for discovery, no?
No.
Like Taryn starts like visibly doing that thing. What's that show called? You know the GIF where the guy's just like weighing things in his head. He's like,
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, he starts doing that because he's like, I'm a good person. I should tell him. Yeah, he's like, I'm a good person. I should tell him about the giant murder robot behind that room. Or he's kind of a human cocksweat, and I could just let him go in there and die. But I'm a good person, and DeBlow, look, as much as it would tickle my pickle for you to waltz into that room and get blasted, and have your particles scattered and your essence thrown out amongst space, time, and the multiverse. There's a big fuck you robot behind that door. And I mean the biggest fuck you robot that has ever been a robot to fuck. Just look. Please leave. Please. I'm begging you right now. This is bypassing our professional blood feud. This is humanitarian efforts.
Give me a diplomacy check. Since it was you that said it, DC 43.
You fuckle.
If you're curious as to how I got this number, it was his hit die plus his charisma modifier, plus 10, and then an additional, it was going to be an additional 10 because he's distrustful of a lot of you, but he really doesn't trust Taryn.
So I couldn't even pass it, but I rolled a 2, which arguably makes everything way more futile.
Yes, you say these things, and DeBlow simply goes, "How many times have we come across these kind of thing, Monsieur Gates? How many times have we gotten to the point where one of us happens to get to the end point, and the other one has to convince him to not step through so that they may steal the glory, eh? I will not fall for your tricks this time, Taryn."
DeBlow, if you're referring to the time when we were over and the man, if you were,
oh God, no, Sarah, what are you doing? I just got a private message.
Oh no.
Okay.
It's like, look, DeBlow, if
hang
you're
on,
referring
Taryn,
to
I'm
the
sorry.
time
But
oh no.
aside, fucking DeBlow activated Sarah's trap card.
Oh no.
Okay, Sarah, what do you want to happen here?
Is it Mirror Force?
Okay, Sarah, what's happening here?
I am whispering to Salt under my breath. We're both maniacally giggling.
Yes.
And then Salt just points at him.
Okay,
I swear to God, if you get this guy lost.
I'm actually not sure. He's going to activate a Astral Lust. Okay.
You chuckle fuckle.
Okay. Targeting
Please
who?
fail.
Targeting who? I need to
targeting
know.
DeBlow,
I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to do here.
It is DeBlow
Okay.
targeting Taryn.
Oh, making DeBlow fall in love with Taryn. Okay.
Yes.
DC 14 will negates. Huh. Ah, unfortunate.
Barely.
Yes, this happens, and DeBlow isn't even aware that went on, and Salt is like pointing his finger all maniacally and excitedly, and then he kind of like looks at his hand and tries to do it again, and just kind of goes, "This should be working. I normally don't have this problem." But DeBlow will simply give a bit of a twirl of something from a coat pocket, and you see it's a prismatic card, and say, "I've been working on this door for the past 2 days. I do not know why the door opens." And he touches it to the door, and a little ding rings out to show that the door unlocks. And he says, "But open it shall." The door will open for a moment, and he will slip through. And he says, "So you're the winner, Circle Terrain."
Yep. Nope. He's dead. I look to Peter and I say, "I'm not gonna get docked karma points for this, right?" I tried, right? I'll take it maybe.
Um,
Fuck! I guess we gotta save him.
guys, quick question. He said he's been working on the door for 2 days, but he had a prismatic card. Could he not just 2 days
He's
ago?
kind of stupid.
That's what I was thinking.
Look, he's my arch rival, and I know you guys don't think highly of my intelligence.
Maybe he needed the prismatic card that has the Iron God stamp on it.
All of you roll intelligence. Whoever rolls highest will auto-remember.
Sure.
It's looking like it might be Sarah. Okay, yeah, Sarah, you remember. The cards outside of Silvermount don't work inside of Silvermount properly. So
That's
yeah.
correct.
Yeah. That and this door was just being held locked. Like, it was actively, like, if you unlocked it, it would just relock itself. But if you'll remember at the end of the little spoiler, I guess, at the end of last episode, this door unlocked itself. Yeah.
Which was spooky.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
He needed the prismatic access card with the Iron God symbol.
Yeah.
Which I have.
Yep.
And 2 others.
Mm-hmm. So yes, that is the answer to that, and we will simply just now ask the age-old question. Well, heroes, what do you do?
Well, we need to go after him.
Yeah, I guess we need to go after him.
He is a citizenry. He will most surely die if he comes across anything stronger than...
just let him die.
Weighing the options of trying to figure out which one is stronger, Terran or Salt. And then I come to the conclusion, Salt's probably stronger. And so I'll say, anything stronger than Terran.
You know, I
expect nothing, and I'm still disappointed.
Yeah, Taryn just kind of like he's still doing the Curb the Enthusiasm. Like you just hear the music as he's like making face. Yeah, guys, should we go save him?
Yes. I'm already at the door, opening my binder, getting the correct card out.
I'm casting Mirror Image.
Vaughn
Not Mirror
shrugs
Image,
at
I'm
you.
casting False Life.
This is not the door. I'll tell you right now. This is not the prompt.
It's still last.
It's hours per level.
Oh,
so
okay, gotcha. Good.
You should cast Greater False Life. It's better.
I don't have it.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll pull out the prismatic card that has the Iron God symbol on it, and I'll use it.
Gotcha.
Also sad, because I rolled a 1 on that.
Womp womp.
Well, Scott, it tracks for you.
He's gone.
All right.
Must have
This
grabbed
is
his
a
kilt and ran.
big room. Let me get the reading material up for you all. All right. This room is known as the Shuttle Hangar. The stripped remains of strange metallic vehicles that look vaguely like birds with outstretched wings lie strewn across this hangar, amid stacks of parts and barrels of glowing liquids. Brilliant green banners bearing a great toothed eye dangle from the ceiling high overhead and flutter in the light breeze that circulates the chamber's oil-choked air. Or the chamber's stale, oil-choked air. Sorry. Let's see. There is a blinking yellow circular symbol on a panel next to a couple of the areas. Can I get a DC 15 linguistics check by somebody, please, that speaks in Drawfin?
Okay. I mean, we'll see what I do.
I can't speak
can
it, but
also roll
I
that.
can read it.
I can speak and draw.
Nice. Okay, so it's not that you can. This isn't like a word. It's like a symbol that is attuned to the language. So in order to know what it means, you have to speak it and also make a check. But yes, let's see. Sarah and Vaughn both understand it. So either of you can translate this to the party. It is the Androphin symbol for warning and danger, and it has some following text under it that warning of severe radiation in the room beyond.
Wonderful.
I wonder if DeBlau can read Androphin. I hope he can.
I'm surprised he
I
got this far if he
assume he
couldn't.
could.
Look, man, you'd be surprised with sheer Galti's luck that this man has.
Yeah, tell me about it. The Galts have either the best or worst of luck. Just ask Drell from the Wednesday night game. Be sure to watch last episode's game from Wednesday. It had a dramatic and exciting ending. But moving on, what do you all wish to do?
Ooh.
Vaughn,
Isuma
Vaughn.
pulls out the little Geiger counter thingy, and she does register like 10 feet in front of you. Begins pretty powerful doses of radiation.
Yeah. Vaughn will ask the party to give him a moment, and he'll go ahead and grab. He'll cast Paragon Surge to get expanded Arcana, and he'll get fucking what's it called? Is it resist radiation? I don't remember what the spell's called.
You'll have to tell me, my guy.
I'm looking it up. Radiation Ward. And he'll, let's see, is it one person or is it multiple?
Let's see here.
I think it's one person.
It's creature touched. So
Yeah,
it's
so-
just one target.
We have 6 people in the party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Vaughn will cast Radiation Ward on everyone.
Nice.
Uh,
All right. After you do this, there's a bit of a haze in the room that begins to clear. So cinematically, how do you actually go about doing that, Vaughn?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Paragon Surge is the just kind of it's a more of a simple spell for Vaughn. It's become kind of reflexive at this point.
Right.
Just kind of
It's like
waves
Goku.
his hand.
It's like Goku turning into Super
Yeah.
Saiyan 1.
Waves his hand, and it activates or whatever. And he sits there and he contemplates for a moment as the spell takes effect, and they're like, all right, I think I got it. Come here, guys. And he goes around to each of the party members in turn and places his hand on them and says a few words in we'll say the language of the spell that the spell uses, Androphin,
Okay.
which most people would not recognize unless they spoke it, but and it appears as a sort of shell, almost akin to how the force fields show up.
Okay.
But it's like it's like a heat haze. It's not visible.
Oh, okay. So the little
directly at it.
the little
but,
wiggly kind of air.
Yeah, if you look kind of away from someone, you can see that around their skin they have a little haze.
I dig that. Okay. And as I said before, speaking of hazes, this room had a strange. It's hard to say. So a lot of you have dark vision and such, and this room is actually not perfectly well lit, but it's not dark enough to even be low light. It's just kind of the light's kind of shitty. But there was a weird kind of smoke isn't the right word, but that's the closest thing your minds can come to. And after it clears and you can see the room perfectly, this room is a fucking charnel house. There are bodies everywhere. How you didn't notice them before is staggering to you. But yeah, like there are hundreds of corpses in this room. Hundreds, easily.
Oh, my.
Humans or
Humans, elves, androids, dwarfs, half everything.
They look to be like recent or
Nein is the German answer. Yes and no. Some yes, some certainly not. It's at this point that the smell hits you. It's funky in here.
Ah, fuck. This is awful. Well, it seems we've come across a corpse room. I didn't expect to find one of these in here. Or here specifically.
It was higher up on my list,
fuck
honestly.
happened here?
Oh, God.
Vaughn starts checking the bodies to see like
Smells like
how they died, if he can
fucking-
tell.
It smells like Galtese cheese in here.
You like go over to one of the bodies over here. Isama will follow you. And feel free, the rest of you, to kind of like just explore the space a little bit.
You want me to roll heal?
Yes, please.
Fuck, this room is big.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
For the most part, it's extremely hard to say. Some look like they were, like parts of them were completely disintegrated. Some look like they were slashed apart. Some look like they were bludgeoned. Some look like they may have just died of natural causes. Some look like they perhaps were poisoned. It's a menagerie. There's no one clear answer to this.
So...
Do any of them look like DeBlau?
Nope. Where he went is a complete fucking mystery. Because he's not in here.
That sneaky Galtese fuck.
And that door right there. It is a rather large and heavily reinforced door. So you've only seen a couple of these in or out of Silvermount. That is not just a reinforced door, it's a blast door. That thing will resist anything that you send at it. You'll have to find your way. Not even like heavy artillery. That thing is meant to like face off against like rocket launchers and shit.
I'm sorry, Star Wars has proven to me that lightsabers can get through blast doors. Isama, give me your lightsaber.
Isama goes, no.
Well, you're just a spoiled sport, aren't you, Isama?
I'm not your servant.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Isama, may I please borrow your lightsaber
No.
so I could... Oh, now you're just being a dick. Alright.
I don't know what that means, but I'm going to ignore the fact that it might be
Taryn.
an insult.
Taryn, even if you had it, your noodle arms would not be able to get through the door.
That's not how lightsaber... Okay,
You also
anyway.
don't have enough of them.
What? Oh,
don't have
not
enough
enough
arms.
arms.
Mom's like, look, the noodle arms thing isn't an insult. I also have noodle arms. It's fine.
I mean, that's not how lightsabers would work.
We'd have
but
to give it to
okay.
Peter.
Isama then, like, in the background to herself goes, what's a noodle?
It,
So-
it-
Type
Um,
of
Yeah, she, like, it doesn't need an answer. It's just funny that she doesn't know. Like, she has had noodles before, but doesn't know the, like, common
Doesn't
word for it.
recognize the
Yeah,
word.
yeah. Okay, so,
you know what spaghetti is?
can I get a caster level check, Vaughn?
Yeah. Where is it?
Cool, you get one action.
Oh,
Some shit's about to go down. Your spider senses start triggering hard. So let me see. The DC was 19, and you beat it by 5. So I'm going to give you 2 words to hint what is about to happen.
But to have one of them Final Destination premonitions.
Yeah, actually, that's how this works.
Two words or an action, or 2 words and an action.
You have one action that you may use, and to hint what you have to prepare for, I'm going to give you 2 like keywords to hint as what's going on. Let's see. I'm going to say undead
Oh,
and army.
oh, fun.
that's
Vaughn,
too weird.
Vaughn says, "Brace yourselves," and hastes the party.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. You do that, and these. Sorry, I had to take the thing off. These two things swarm together.
What?
All of the corpses get up, and they don't like crawl to each other. They like lift up into the air telekinetically and just smash together to make something known only as a war sworn.
That looks awful.
Yeah, that's because it is awful. A war sworn is an enormous mass of armed and armored corpses undulating forth like a siege tower of steel-girded flesh. They are awful. And the two collections of the advanced war sworns look to the party. Well, it's hard to say if they're looking, but you can assume they're referring to you. And in too many voices, they reach out and say,
What right have you to trespass upon the holy grounds of unity?
Oh, god damn it, not a cannibal, a corpse zealot.
Corpse cannibals?
Corpse cannibals. Heron looks to Peter and I say, can we just dispense with the pretenses anymore? Can we just blast it?
The amount of rotting flesh and bone.
They're undead.
Alright.
World.
I turn to the corpse thing and I say, fuck you. That's why.
You shall not end as heroes. You shall end only as additions to our collection.
No.
I don't think I will.
can I get you all to select your characters and roll initiative?
Ooh, I rolled good this time. I rolled a 19.
Alright, let me see if I can get this.
Kyle and Taryn, I have bad news for you.
Did you cuck me again, Scarecrow?
I realized that I forgot to take a feat at 15th level. So I just went ahead and picked up improved initiative.
You didn't have that already?
No.
Chaz, every waking moment that you breathe gives me another reason to eat a gun.
Oh, I thought you had that already.
Nope.
That's pretty funny.
I wish nothing for you, Chaz, but the most... I just want you to stub your toe, like, at least every hour on the hour.
On the hour. Alrighty. Let's get this. Let's get this bread. Alright, come on. Fight music. Go. Do the thing. Do it. Do it.
Julie!
Go. Come on. Do the thing. Jamie, pull that up. Alright. Moving things off. Vaughn, you saw this coming, but you were powerless to stop it. What do you wish to do?
Can I roll a knowledge check to see if I know anything about these? Except that they're, like, probably undead.
Absolutely. This will be a DC 26 Knowledge Religion.
I can technically
DC
make that.
20 dicks.
Hey.
You made it! Hey! Okay, so, since you only bested it, I'll let you know, one thing about them. Do you want to know their offenses, their defenses, or, like a specific
Defense, because I want to know how to kill them better.
Okay, Warsworn, I'll tell you they are gargantuan undead, even though they look like hunks of collapsed machinery upon itself. Their defenses, however, are they have an AC of 33, a touch AC of 21, and a flat-footed AC of 28. They commonly have, let's see here, 243 health, a fortitude save of 15, a reflex save of 11, and a will save of 19. They resist channel attempts, so if you try to, they have channel resistance. They have DR 10, it has to be bludgeoning and magic to get through it, though.
Ooh.
And then they also have their undead traits.
Okay, so no resistances to speak of.
No resistances to speak of.
Outside of undead ones.
Vaughn points at the closer one, and casts a fun little spell called Hellfire Ray.
Oh shit! There's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
I did not see the second.
Oh, 2 rays. You say?
Take 12 off of that first one.
Only the first one. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So both will hit. As I said, their touch AC is 21. No resistances. So we have
72
and 49.
Yes.
121 damage. That is quite a lot, my guy.
And then he steps back towards Terran.
Good on ya. Sarah, you're going next, homegirl.
I'm gonna say Salt, stay close, buff the party. And then I'm gonna turtle up. I'm gonna full defend.
Oh, okay. Okay, I dig it. Peter,
Scott,
you're next.
are you afraid that they have some AoE abilities?
Maybe. Gonna move in to that one.
Alrighty.
Do.
Rah, you charge on in.
Well, I'm not charging.
You're not charging. Wait. Oh yeah, you're hasted, so you have extra
he's
movement.
Faster, yeah.
Ha! Nice one. Yeah, here we go. Ah!
You can't even be mad. That was actually pretty solid.
All right.
Does it hit?
Yes, that absolutely will hit.
Yay!
Let's see here.
25.
Your weapon, unfortunately, let's see. You ignore 10 points of damage reduction. 5 if DR play. Okay, so you just get past their DR because it's only 10. Gotcha. So 25. Nice.
It counts as good if that does anything.
Yeah, no, it doesn't do anything in this case. They have no
Gotcha.
resistances that rely on alignment.
Okay.
Alright, now it is their turn. The 2 of them are going to, as a free action, activate a fear aura. They reach back and let out a bellowing, cacophonous scream of nightmare. So you all have watched Full Metal Alchemist, yes?
Yeah.
You've also seen Envy, what she actually, or they actually look like.
Yes.
Remember the whole, like, all the voices speaking at the same time, asking to be killed, or, asking for forgiveness, asking for help, all that kind of shit? Both of them are doing that. So, everyone within 60 feet of either of them, I think both of them, so we're going to have all of you make a will save, DC 28.
Woo! Is this a mind-affecting effect?
This is a mind-affecting fear effect. It is their Frightful Presence ability.
Well, Maddie,
I'm
enjoy
good.
your immunity. Oh shit! And this is the turn he ran away from us, so we don't get that sweet bonus.
Oof.
Let's see here.
What's the DC?
Shut up,
28.
Maddie.
28. So yeah, Maddie.
Oh!
I get to roll twice,
Oh,
take the
oh.
better, but that doesn't
Do
help.
I-
That's
do I have any dumb shit?
still only a 27.
Let's see. Let me see this.
I think I have something.
The range is 30 feet, duration is 5. Effects with fewer hit dice or levels than the creature has.
25.
Let's see, how many hit die do these things have? Ah, they do have more hit die than you all do. Excellent. That's lucky. An ability effects on blah blah blah. The affected creature can resist the effects with a will save. An opponent that succeeds on the saving throw is immune, and on a failed save, they are shaken or panicked if 4 hit die are fewer than the creature. Okay. So you all are going to be shaken for a few rounds.
That's much better than what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah, I thought something.
So if you all had taken these on earlier, at your earlier levels, you'd been fucked by this for like very, very handedly. But luckily, that's not the case. This is just a free action they have. They have way worse shit later on. So let's see here. Who all failed? Everybody. Okay.
Everyone.
Sarah, can I have this? You are shaken for 20 rounds. 2 whole minutes.
Okay.
Wow.
13 rounds.
I'll take
Vaughn, 12 rounds.
6 round.
6? 6? What?
Forgotten Past, the feat that I had.
Mhm.
Any mind affecting thing on me is halved.
Nice. Okay, so 6 rounds.
That's
And
also why I got to roll twice.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Isama. Let me look at this. Okay, no, she does have enough hit die, which is good. She is for 19 rounds. Where's my... There it is. There we go. Alright, so that is the free action. This one down here, we're going to... Wait, who goes first? Oh, it's the top one goes first. There we go. He is going to slam Maddie.
Get up and slam.
There we go.
Just the 38.
Nice. Okay,
Man, what did I
26
see?
bludgeoning. Go ahead and do your own resistances and all that.
Okay.
These weapons, the creatures are evil, but their weapons are not. So make sure that you factor that in. And this energy drain. Can I get a fortitude save, please?
Get up and slam. And welcome to the jam.
Oh
no.
Let's see here.
Up and slam.
Oh, okay. So, am I mistaken? Do you just get a negative level? Like, if you get hit, do you just take negative energy?
If they hit, it does the energy drain.
And then a fortitude save is to resist it becoming permanent. Yes, I think that's the
no,
case.
I think that's right. Yeah, because energy drain is like a brutal ability, and I think it's because it's automatically on you, and then you roll to resist it, or you roll to resist
I
it
might
after
hero
the.
point that. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, don't worry about hero pointing it now. You'll roll that 24 hours from now is how that'll work, unless
But
it's just.
no, but if I pass
unless
it now, I won't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
No, I think.
I mean, if you want to use the hero point, go for it.
There you go.
I made it. Okay, so it'll just stay temporary. So that's that. The second one down here. Let me move this down here.
Yeah, so that just negates
This
it,
one?
right?
Yeah.
Good boy.
It is going to slam into Isama.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's going to hit, and it's going to hurt. And she's got some negative energy. Nice. Salt goes next. Salt casts Prayer.
What's the range on that? spell?
50 foot.
Okay, so I'm in it. Good.
Yeah, I think you're, yeah, absolutely. And they are also in it. Nice.
So they get a.
So they
there's
have
no
a.
save.
Yeah, you all have a +1 to hit and damage and will saves against fear. Or I think all saves, actually. And they have a negative to the same things.
It's a luck bonus, right?
Yes. I know because it stacks with the level 1 bless. It stacks with bless. Bless and bane and all that. All right. Let's see. So let's.
My turn, probably.
Taryn, yes, you're next.
Excellent. So the one that just hit Isama, I'm going to smack it with. Where's that fucking spell? Where the fuck is that spell? I just had it in front of me. Flame Strike!
Oh, wow! Okay. Yeah, so how do you actually go about doing this? Cinematically?
So I see these undead abominations, and there's like this. Oh, that's good. There's this like, I don't know, like compulsion. You know that Nirvana descended into me. That's like I hate this. I loathe this with a passion. It's just gross to me. And so I reach into that that ancestral energy, and I conjure forth this pillar of flame.
Oh, there's
that
the
is
attacks.
a
I
mixture
clicked those
of-
forever ago.
Thanks, Roll20.
That's funny. Continue.
That's this mixture of light and pure fire that just like starts off as like a little bead inside of it and just erupts into this like Moses pillar of flame.
Nice.
We're
I
getting
dig
Old
that. I
Testament in
dig
this
that.
house.
Hell yeah. I mean, you are an Aasimar, so you know. Have you ever thought of what, which of the deities you actually like hold allegiance to?
Oh fuck!
Something to think on.
Not. Yeah.
Isima's turn. She's hurting. She's hurting, boss. She's gonna shift back. Yeah. So we're gonna start blasting. Does she have improved? What's it called? Point blank shot.
I don't know.
She does not. Okay. So the question is, do these things have the thing, combat expertise or whatever, combat reflexes? They do not. Okay, so they only get one attack on her. Hiya. And it misses on a 1. Okay. Take this. She's pulling out that the big girl rifle, and she starts blasting. Alright, their AC, as I said before, is 21 against touch attacks, so I'm going to add this all up, and as I do, Vaughn, it is your turn next.
Yeah. Vaughn's going to, I think Vaughn's just gonna follow suit with Isuma.
That will actually kill that one.
Okay, well, we'll aim at the other one then. Vaughn's gonna follow suit with Isuma and just fire his gun at the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Nice. Okay.
I missed a lot of.
Do you have a point blank bonus added to be added?
I'm not within 30 feet of it.
Gotcha. So you only have 2 attacks that hit for a grand total of, it looks like, 39 damage.
Unfortunate.
There we go. It took me a couple tries to get the damage set it in there. So, yeah, Isuma blasts the other one to fucking smithereens, just like firing from the hip and just opening up into this creature, hitting it in all the right places. Just the thing just falls apart as the combination of your Hellfire Ray and the fire pillar that Terran summoned is just far too much damage for this thing to have taken in one time, and it can't hold itself together anymore. The necromantic energies that cause it and the metal that clings to it just completely disperses, and the corpses fall to a messy heap right there. Sarah, you are going next.
Alright. I'm gonna go on in.
Okay.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and I'm gonna give it a bop.
Let's see. What is their reach?
What is their reach?
Funny enough, their reach is 5 feet. So they actually have to be up on something. So yeah, you don't have to worry about them hitting you.
1 mono whip, go.
Okay. That will hit.
21.
Nice. So they are like kind of like constructs, but they're not constructs. So unfortunately, that won't work.
I just keep it on all the time.
Yeah, I know. Just to let you know. Okay. Good. Peter, you're going next.
I'm going. Good. No, I'm gonna full attack.
Alrighty.
Hiya!
Oh, those will both hit and confirm. Let's see. How much health does this thing have? It has that much. I think that doesn't kill it because you miss on the last one.
Did you take your haste attack?
Yeah, make sure you make your haste attack.
Oh.
Okay, let's see. Let's add this all up, shall we? Tell me how you're slashing at it.
I'm just, carving it up like a sous chef. A nice tilapia.
Yes. Tell me, how do you kill it?
like a sous chef. With a nice salami.
Pandora,
Well
stop
done.
screaming. Pandora!
That is the end of the combat, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking cat.
She is so loud all the time.
I would award you all experience, but it's pointless. You will not level.
Actually, they have points. They're points.
Points? Oh, do you want to just know?
Oh no, it was you said they were pointless. I'm like, no, they're points. They're Look, I'm bad at jokes. I'm
You all
bad
get-
at things.
That's how much experience you all get each. 51,200, if you wish to add it all up. They do not have any inventory, unfortunately. All those bodies, and you'd think they'd have at least a coin, but nothing.
I was gonna say I would assume that the bodies are just like garbage of what used to be, gear.
Yeah.
But do you have but a crumb, but a coin?
But a crumb of coinage. Yeah, so this room is just full of stuff that's been completely stripped. Like, to the bone and the gears and the nuts and everything. So, there's just nothing of real value in here. Except, of course, of the friends we made along the way.
You mean the One Piece?
The One Piece. The one piece of... I ain't got anything. Alright, heroes. Your last obstacle lies just beyond that door.
Oh, that's where DeBlau must have went.
Cassandra Lee makes contact to the lot of you through her little self. Let me pull her up for the people watching from home. Boop. There you go. Our fun little AI gal. She says to the lot of you,
It is in there. There is where I can sense it. The Overlord robot must be. Be careful. You have never faced a foe in your lives more mighty than this creature. Good luck, heroes.
Psst.
Of course, it's in the room full of radiation.
Indeed. You all are currently standing amidst where there would be radiation, like right now. But the spell you cast before will keep the lot of you safe from its touch.
It is just a bonus to saves. Like, do we need
as the DM said, it will keep you safe from
Okay.
its touch.
All right. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure you didn't misunderstand it.
Yeah. I read it as you were doing the thing. I just didn't. I was like, it's a lot of bookkeeping, and I just said, no.
More like butt keeping.
I'll keep your butt.
Do it.
Wait.
I said what I said.
Just don't put it on the YouTube.
Just don't. Oh God, Luke's gonna put our butts above his mantle place.
Dude, I actually watched that episode of SpongeBob today at work. we had the kids over when they got back from school, and that turned on cartoons for them, and it was that one, the painting the house episode. So good. That show's so good. Anyway,
Do we know anything about the Overlord, or can?
Cassandra Lee can give you some very muddled information. She's never actually seen it like in combat because it's never had to. But the only thing that can properly be housed within it is Unity's full power of its AI. So when you fight the Overlord, you're fighting Unity, an actual mythic powered iron deity. So
All right.
be wary of that.
I'm gonna detect evil.
Yep. When you detect that, there is give me a will save.
Oh no.
Okay, so you're not stunned. You do that, and there's just like a sharp spike of pain goes through your temples as there is a very definite and ferocious malice coming from the other side of that door.
Huh.
Well, all right, guys. Vaughn asks the party to. He's like, "This is a little bit weird doing it, now, I guess. But sit down for a second."
Oh. Okay.
And he gets the party in a small little group, and then pulls out from his bag just a few bundles of twigs, and hands one to each of the party members, and then casts Hunter's Blessing.
Nice.
And he's gonna choose. I assume that this is like underground would be the
Yes.
terrain. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So he's gonna cast it for terrain and for constructs.
Aha.
So
very good.
yeah,
So
we'll have
+2 to hit and damage against robots. And
Yes.
then to like skills and stuff.
to
for
skills and to
initiative, I think.
initiative. I'm pretty sure for
All right. If all of my players could make sure to add in all of those bonuses, you have a +1 to hit and damage if it is targeting a robot.
+2.
Yeah, +2, yes. And the only one that's really important is a +2 to initiative at the moment for the next 24 hours. For also current bookkeeping, Isma took a grand total of effectively 50-some damage, 53. She has 2 negative levels, and Peter has 1.
I passed the save though.
Yeah, you still have it. It's just a temporary one at the moment.
Oh.
It will go away in 24 hours, but it's still there.
I did not know.
while we're still sitting in our little friend circle, I think that no, it doesn't.
Do these bonuses stack with other bonuses?
They're sacred bonuses.
Oh,
So,
goody.
yeah, it's a very powerful bonus type since how rare it is.
Yeah. Didn't we just have like Hunter's Blessing like on fucking cooldown refresh in the final dungeon of Rise of the Rune Lords?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he cast it every single day. Dofov did in that game.
Just on refresh.
Yep.
I've been
very good one.
not casting it because we've been fighting a bunch of weird things,
Yeah.
but this is kind of
weird
obvious.
Mhm.
Vaughn's gonna hit Isuma with heal just to make sure she's full health. It doesn't remove negative levels, unfortunately. I thought it did. Fucking restoration is the thing that gets rid of that, and I still don't have that because I'm dumb.
Also, make sure to remember every negative level you have reduces your max health by 5.
Yeah, if you do energy drain, it does that automatically.
Yep. Oh, I see. Okay.
It also reduces a bunch of other things, which makes me sad.
And then Vaughn's also gonna go ahead and put resist energy communal for electricity and fire.
Nice. Okay, so that's what resist 30 for both.
Yes, I'm pretty sure
Okay.
because it's not protection.
This is our
it's based on cast skill.
Einzelgone kind of magic defense
Yeah.
up, flying, aerial traps, physical defense up, greater physical defense up.
I am going to activate my Divine Bond, and I'm going to choose Holy.
Oh, okay. Just holy. And like max out the bonuses.
Yeah, because I have a +5 coming in, and I already have a +2 on it, and Holy is already only a +2, so now
So
it makes
that's
my
a
sword
+5 holy.
Holy Keen Adamantine Scimitar.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
And last but not least, Vaughn's gonna. Oh, Isma. I keep forgetting to do this. May I see your gun for a moment?
She has her gun, like she like kind of takes it and holds it and goes to hand it to you, but then kind of like pulls back for a second and like looks down at the rifle. And
You
then
don't have
looks-
to hand it to me.
And
if
then
you don't
looks up
want
at
to.
you and says, "What do you need it for?"
I'm going to make it temporarily magical. It will have it function better against
Oh, I see.
The robot.
Very good.
And he casts Greater Magic Weapon on her gun.
Nice.
So that's a +4 to hit and +4 to damage.
I dig it. Okay, so +4 to hit and damage.
To cast protection from technology on myself.
A very good choice. A
Pulls on-
very good choice.
Puts on some overalls, a wide brimmed hat, and throws on a beard.
Hey, robots. Hate Unity.
Gotcha.
Enough said.
Robots.
All right.
I'm gonna give myself 1 dose of lay on hands because I need to top off.
Okay.
That tops me off.
It will, of course, it will top you off to a maximum of 177.
87.
Yes, but you're the -10 from the negative level,
Yeah, it's
or
already,
-5.
it's already on there.
Hold.
Yeah.
Then it would reduce your health. Like
Yeah,
it's a thing that yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently topped off to what my max could be.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm at 187 of 187 instead of 187 of 192.
Oh, and I just
Gotcha.
realized this, and this might matter. Let me just do this real quick, since I wasn't here for the game.
Ah.
Lol.
My max health is 144. Dope.
The only thing Terran's gonna do... Mirror image.
Ah, very good one. Okay, 1d4 + 4. Can you roll that for me?
Yeah, fuck it. Here's the... Oh, it's only 5.
Okay, so
We'll
5.
take it.
Here we go. Nice. And Sarah, protection from energy. You're also doing mirror image. Me, I'll give that to you. Yeah. You protection from technology. So that does that have like an auto "this can't touch me" ability, similar to protection from evil does?
No, it is just a +2.
Just a +2.
Yeah, it's a +2 deflection bonus to AC and a +2 resistance on saves.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm gonna activate the force field, just because.
Oh.
Do you have the red one that we got?
I have the black one that we just got.
Is that better than the red one?
No.
No.
We got a red one last week.
I will take the red one then.
Yeah, there's a red one in the Dragon's Horde, and you can
Yeah.
Use that now if you wish.
I will use that now.
Nice.
DC is 15 to avoid the blah blah blah
Oh.
blah. There you go.
Woo! Nice. All right. Fun fact: that giant ass Dragon's Horde at the bottom of the astrogation chamber, that was a sliver of Becrux's actual Dragon Horde. It was just the amount of it that Becrux couldn't get through the portable hole that led back to the many caches that she had within the galaxy.
Jesus.
She went from planet to planet, just kind of dropping them off elsewhere.
So that'll be the subject of a different adventure when Terran gets the portable hole out.
Yeah, dude, Terra's gonna go fucking dumpster diving. And it's gonna be awful.
That is, if you survive.
If it's good.
All right, are you all ready?
Yes.
I think so. I hope.
All right. I hope you're ready for this, because I know you're not. Do you wish to step through the precipice? Do you step through the fog?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Give it to me.
Oh yeah. Oh. Let's see here. All right. You step through the precipice. And in this room, the shuttle bay. Hanging banners, mathematical, precise runes, and glowing orbs have transferred this circular dome chamber into something like a cathedral. A strange winged vehicle sits in the northern half of the chamber. And within this room resides 9 robots. 3 larger than the other 6, and 2 larger than largest still. Well, I assume you all can see what I'm describing here.
Yes.
Excellent. In here, let me get all these popped up. We have 6 evaluator robots. Angelic-looking machines with wings of an unearthly glow and a mechanical likeness, very, very similar to that of an angel. We have, of course, the well-known Annihilator robots.
Oh boy.
Always makes me think of the movie Wild Wild West. You know, the giant robot spider. And of course, what encounter wouldn't be complete without the Overlord robot? Well, welly, Wellington. The lot of them train weapons upon you, but the Overlord robot raises one of its mechanical hands, and the lot of them stop aiming their weapons. Let me zoom this in a little bit for our viewers back home. Also have everybody shift back a bit to show that they're pulling back from you. The Overlord speaks with Unity's robotic voice and says to a lot of you,
You have done very well for your kind of flesh and bone to make it this far. Lay down your arms, submit to Unity, become one with me, and you shall be one with a greater mind. Your lives in flesh are transitory. Your lives in me shall endure forever. Submit to Unity. All else is meaningless. Submit to Unity.
well, heroes, what do you say?
No.
Can't do that.
Get bent.
Huh?
Alright.
Domo arigato, fuck off roboto.
You say this, and Unity simply says,
A foolish response to be predicted from a foolish species.
select your characters, and roll initiative, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so fucking hype. Load me up, Captain. Give me a boss fight. I roll poorly.
Only a 30. Sad.
Alright.
I beat you! Ha ha!
There's gonna be a big one. So let's see if I can get all these in one good show here.
You rolled a 19 and I rolled a 12. Woo! That's bad.
Sorry, I did not mean to click that twice.
Yes, you did.
I actually no, I didn't. So this fight is going to be hard enough that I won't need to use the dynamic boss fight. Unfortunately, Unity just has an ability called Dual Initiative. You roll once, and then have a second initiative that is the first minus 20.
Fuck
Onto the
yeah.
Annihilators.
Oh wow, oh wow, oh no. I just looked at Unity's the Overlord bot's fucking initiative rolls.
Yeah. All right.
I guess I need to come up with a new character for 2 sessions. Shit.
Just play as the WoW.
That would be hysterical.
Oh my god, I'll do it.
All right. Well, here we go. The Overlord robot is going first. Okay. Let's see. The Overlord robot, as a free action, will cast a fun little spell. Can I get a Knowledge Arcana to identify it?
Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah, we can try. Oh, mine suck.
You succeed. Where is it on here? Just a moment. What the hell is it? There it is. Unholy Aura. So yeah. It's like an evil resistance spell. It has a hella defenses because of how sinister it is.
I don't like that.
Let's see. Oh, this will be fun. It uses an ability called Gravity Bomb.
Gravity squeeze?
Gravity Squeeze! It targets that square. As a swift action, every 1d4 rounds, the Overlord fires a purple bolt of force from its eye. This bolt has a range of 120 feet and explodes on impact, dealing 20 die 6 points of force damage to creatures within a 30-foot radius. So, all of you. Creatures that fail to save are encapsulated in a sphere of force, such as a resilient sphere, for 1d6 rounds. So, can I get a reflex save? DC 29.
Oh, fuck. Duck.
Okay.
Tough.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, fun! Cool.
Oh no. Oh.
I use that too. Okay.
Hey, Vaughn, can you give one of us our reroll? Wait, no, shit. You haven't gone yet.
I haven't gone.
Shit. Fuck.
So Unity does that. And then, let's see. Vaughn, you're the threat here. It's then going to fire its integrated laser cannon at you. Since you're not in the sphere.
Nothing.
And then it deals no damage to you. So yeah, you guys, the two of you dive off to the side there. Let me make a little shape here real quick. There we go.
We all need to make another reflex save to see if we negate that effect.
Yeah, if you would.
You mean fortitude for the resilient sphere?
Nope.
Is
It is fortitude.
It's a
It
fortitude
is
save?
fortitude.
Wow.
The reflex for the original thing, and then the fortitude for the resilient sphere.
I see. Okay.
I still don't make it.
I'll have to roll more damage here in a moment. I'm gonna say that first one was for the first damage was for Isama. Let's see, gravity
I don't
bomb.
think Sarah makes it. Fuck.
Okay, so none of you. Vaughn and Isama made the thing, so this one's gonna be for Vaughn. You take half of that.
32. All right.
And then everyone else is taking full damage. So, Peter, this is for you. 60. Sarah?
30.
76.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. My little SMR buddy.
Here it is. Here it comes.
60.
Oh.
Yeah, that could have killed you.
I fucking hate your face.
67 for Salt. Oh wait, Salt didn't roll reflex.
Oh yeah.
So he'll take 67.
Salt dice.
Yeah, he is reduced to -4. Dead.
He did.
He's not out though. He has fast healing.
Where were you when Salt died?
So that was a swift action to do. Who will fail the fortitude saves?
Me. I'm in the
Me.
sphere.
I'm also in sphere.
I'm not in this sphere.
You have to make the fortitude save if you fail the reflex, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. So everyone else is in the sphere, just as it was before.
Now,
I made the fortitude save.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
The only thing we have to sphere is sphere itself.
This was pretty good. Right, solid. All right. So that is the case right there. Cool. And then it standard action fires a laser at Vaughn, who just resists the damage. It was not aware of that you could do that. Sarah, you're next. What are you gonna do?
Do I have haste or anything similar?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna try and take out this front line of boys and girls.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, spending 1 point to make Keen and another to make, let's spend 2 points to make Shocking Burst.
Okay.
Okay, and here are 3 attacks. I'll give you the 4th one in a moment.
All right.
And the 4th.
Oh, Lord.
Roll the 1.
Okay. So, you're just hitting the ones immediately in front of you, I'm assuming.
Yep, bleeding over as they die. Starting down here.
Damage, that's 30. The first one will... Let's see. They have effectively 91 health. So, how much is that? The last mono whip hit, unfortunately, will miss because it's 1. So we've got 20, 30...
Are they lawful?
No. The only the Overlord robot is.
Oh, good to know. And then for the 3 that did hit, here's 3d6 electrical damage.
Okay. And then actually the full attack will just kill that one. Nice.
Good.
Cool. I forgot the evaluator robots are a swarm. Or they're like a group, I should say. So they all act together.
A squad, if you will.
Yes, Vaughn, your turn. A unit. If you
Oh
like to-
Lord. Man, this is...
Yeah, let's see you get your way out of this one, motherfucker.
I should have cast something else before this combat. But I forgot that I had it, and it was supposed to be something that I did like way earlier anyway, so it's fine. Man. Well, I had something I wanted to do, but that's not gonna work anymore. So, because the unholy aura is on all of the enemies, right?
Let's see. I think so. By the way the ability works. Let's see, pop this up again. Surrounds the subjects, protecting, one creature per level in a 20-foot radius burst centered on you. So no, just the Overlord and the Annihilators. What you gonna do now?
Are you gonna cry? You gonna cry, Goblin Jr.?
Oops, I accidentally... Where was the Evaluator Robots initiative?
I have no idea.
I want to say it was here. I might be wrong, but who knows.
The highest one rolled a 20, the lowest one rolled a 13.
A 20 total?
You rolled
Gotcha.
for each evaluator robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highest was a 20, the lowest was a 13.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Vaughn is going to 5-foot step over here.
Why? Come on in. The water's fine.
And man, going. Oh man, I wish I could do that faster. Don't know whether more bodies would be helpful or not. Probably. But I might get.
Yeah.
Might
You say you like
hit.
you say you like hard fights, eh?
But I might get hit is the problem. You know what? Okay, Vaughn, as a swift action, is going to attempt to cast a spell, but he's gonna have to roll a will save.
DC 20, I assume?
Yep.
Go for it. With the +4 that you have due to your weird little nipple chains, that will succeed.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Little nipple chain.
Vaughn, as a swift action, casts the spell Temporal Divergence.
Oh my. Okay, what's that card do?
I can choose 2 other spells that I could cast at that moment, and that have a casting time of a standard action, and I basically see the results of both of them, and I pick which one I want to use.
Okay. Like you can do that now?
Yeah. He's Doctor Strange.
That's part of the spell, basically.
Okay.
It eats my standard action, and then
next turn you can do that trick? Or is it this turn?
It's this turn. It eats my standard action this turn. But it's as I get to look at if I, had cast one and one they fail the saving throw against one, but they don't fail against the other one.
You get to pick the better. Gotcha.
Failed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
Vaughn is going to choose to do. Yeah. Okay. Vaughn's gonna choose to fire a disintegrate at the
sphere.
Is that the better choice?
It will automatically destroy the sphere.
I was gonna say you can destroy.
Well,
that would
the thing is,
just
well,
one-shot
if I was gonna do that, I would have just cast.
If you get me out of the sphere, I can do this magic trick called big AOE damage bullshit.
I'll let you backstep if you wish. There's been no change so far to the board state. Do you want to just simply have cast disintegrate? Tick tock, tick tock.
Tick tock. Yeah, I know.
What will you do?
No. Okay. I'm gonna choose. So one of the one option is going to be casting disintegrate at this annihilator robot.
Okay.
So here's the disintegrate.
Ooh.
And that damage is. I was gonna say yes. Roll your fortitude. That damage is actually 14 lower than that. Failed.
Or
the other action was going to be casting Rift of Ruin and seeing how many of the evaluators fell into it. But I'm just gonna go with that disintegrate, blasting the annihilator.
All right, cool.
And then I'm gonna spend a hero point to disintegrate the resilient sphere around Terran.
Ooh, look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's simply no way you can fail that. I just have to be able to select that. Goodbye, Terran.
So for
No, it's perfect. It's perfect that way. No, go back.
For flavor, I'm gonna say it was like I got to pick 2 out of 3 options instead of 1 out of 2. So Vaughn steps over, casts this spell, and you see 3 different versions of Vaughn each casting, 2 of them casting Disintegrate, 1 at the robot and 1 at Terran, and the third one casting Rift of Ruin. And we'll just say, because he didn't pick it, that like none of the evaluators fell into the rift, so
Gotcha.
that version of Vaughn
They all kind of like just
disappears.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And then
cool.
the 2 disintegrates fire off.
And, so we've got 128 damage then, right?
Yes. Yeah, I never could figure out how to just add damage to gun instead of to everything
Okay.
with the buff option. So it
That
just
obliterates its force field. And it is still standing pretty healthy.
yeah.
Pretty good, my guy. Pretty good. But we now move on to the Overlord's second initiative for the round. Let's see here. The Overlord looks to you and says,
Interesting. Heat resistance unbefitting of its mortal form. It must have taken preventative measures. No matter.
and it is going to, let's see. What's it gonna do?
Give up, surrender, rethink its life choices. Invite us over for a lovely cup of tea and crumpets.
Nope.
No.
I don't think I'm going to do any of that. It is going to cast a fun little spell. Let's see.
He's gonna cast Wish and wish that we could all be friends.
You're cute.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we?
Maddie,
Let's
what
see.
you said like a fucking Muppet.
Yeah, it looks to you, Sarah. There. And it then says,
You have been quite resistant to my allures in the past, creature of the whip. Tell me, what kind of resistances do you have to me saying, kill your friends?
Technology.
I cast Quest. Or Chaos, whatever.
Did you take
Okay.
10 minutes to do
I
so?
was gonna say it takes like.
So it does, I'm sorry. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, he should sit there for 10 minutes. trying to
Dominate
cast
person,
that.
then.
Oh,
I like the other
arguably-
option where you sit for 10 minutes. Can you do that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Damn!
And I look at him and I say, no!
Isama then just simply takes her rifle and says, I think I've had enough of these robots for quite one lifetime. And she's going
Issa,
to...
clear my path.
She is... You know, give me a diplomacy roll. Let me give you a DC first. DC
Aren't you-
25.
Aren't you trapped in a sphere?
No, it's not.
It was a
'Cause you
sphere around
destroyed
both of us.
You destroyed the sphere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's around both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I just made it to where it's like a big thing. It's probably like they each are stuck in their own unique ones, but I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah, we were in the dirty bubble.
Okay, you convince her. Isama will instead gun down the evaluators.
I mean, not all of them, like just in a line. So, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, she's just going to attack the evaluators.
Okay.
Let's see, what is an evaluator's touch AC is 17, so I think all but the 8 will hit because the 16 gets a +1. What's the hardness on an evaluator robot is 10, so we've got let's see. While I do this math, Taryn, what do you do?
Oh, I'm going to do I'm going to do what we call a statistic.
Chain lightning.
And we're going to cast Chain Lightning on this robot here.
No, you should target the other one because the other one doesn't have a force field.
Well, the reason being is she's targeting that thing.
No,
And I wanna
she's targeting all of these things.
All of those hit and only kill one.
Yeah, so I'm going to target this one so I hit all the evaluator robots.
Nice. All right.
All right. Big money, big money, big money, big money.
No mammy, no whammy. Ooh.
decent money.
Execute Order 66, Zap, he says.
Terran looks to Sarah, and I say,
What else?
you know, it really shouldn't be that much surprise that we turned down Unity's offer, but it seems to be quite a shocking revelation.
Can I get
to
a
the
spell
robots.
pin? Can I get a spell pin for Unity?
That was a good joke.
It was pretty good.
And don't forget the other Annihilator.
And
Yeah.
whammy.
That will
you beat it.
succeed.
Whew.
All right. The DC was 25 or 23 actually for everyone that wasn't that first Annihilator. So the second and last evaluator do make it, but the Overlord does not. Let's see. Does he have any fun tricks to get around that? No. Okay. So 66 damage, you say, which actually becomes 99.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where I get to remind you that Annihilators have hella hardness.
Not as hurt as me right now for 99
You
damage.
swallowed all of that like a fucking Skyrim character.
I'm so sorry.
That was loud.
Boy, you need to mute your mic.
For real, stop being gross.
Right.
Anyway. Let's see. What's the total of that is 80... I'm doing math in my head. 91... Okay, so the ones that fail the save are just going to straight up die. So the... What was it? The first makes it, the second makes it, the third doesn't. Okay. Alright, and then this guy takes 99. No, he doesn't. He takes half of 99. Was that 49? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright. And then these guys will take 49 as well. Alright, after that, it's the Evaluator's turn to actually do something.
Oh, is that Annihilator still up? Oh my.
Yeah, it's that hella hardness. It was in fact harder than I am right now for 99 damage.
Oh, energy just... Oh, I thought hardness was for, like, weapons only.
Hardness is for everything.
Yeah, it's just
better
hard.
damage resist.
Yep.
Damage reduction.
Did not know
Alright,
that.
let's see. The
TIL.
Evaluators will all move in one thing. The way we'll do this is they will all... It'll make one roll, and they'll get a +2 for every additional surviving member of the unit. That one will provoke an attack of opportunity, of course, as it moves in. As will that one.
Oh, good.
And this one.
Have these. The first attack going into the one that moved first,
Okay.
and then
that will hit.
the second it provokes a second time at a -5,
Mm-hmm. That will hit.
and then the other two.
Hell yeah. All of those will hit. So let's see the 2 damage for the first one. Yeah, you get past their hardness, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
roll
2d6
the electricity for
shocking.
that. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, let me do this math real quick. So that's what 18 plus 9, so 27. That's pretty rough. And then the second one, the second attack will be enough to kill the first one. All right. And then the next one. So that's 21 plus however much. And then 3 more. Okay, it's 26. Minus 4 more. Yeah, you give these things quite a thrashing as they all run in, but those two survive because they only had to take 1 source of damage. And these two are both going to attack you, Sarah. So one's going to attack you, the other one's going to assist it. So that's a +2 to this attack. Let's see. There we go. Hiya! Brah! So a 30. That will... Oh my god, your AC is 40!
Yeah, versus robots.
I was not ready for that. Okay. Yeah. Wait. Something's wrong. Where's their initiative?
It keeps disappearing.
The highest was a 20, the lowest was a 13.
It
Yeah, it's just
disappears
it's gonna be
because
20.
the tokens go
Oh,
away.
I deleted the token that had the initiative. Gotcha.
That's funny.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, it would be down here. Now, this Annihilator is going to go. It's going to shift in. Actually, you know what? No, it's going to move in and slash at Sarah.
Does it provoke?
What's your reach?
I can make up to 5, and the extra one did not count. And it's 15 feet.
Yeah, I guess it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. There's like 2.5 of those feet would provoke, and it moved into them. So yeah, go ahead.
Wabam.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, a touch attack of 50 is going to hit.
That's also a crit.
It's a crit?
Because I have Keen on, I just didn't put the thing in.
Gotcha. Okay, nice. Roll the damage and the electricity.
Oh.
Shocking Burst. I do need to roll to confirm. But Shocking Burst is 2d10 extra, so...
If it crits.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and
You're
roll that.
probably going to crit.
And here's the crit roll. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 die 10 extra. Nice. So 15 more electricity.
Oh, plus, it deals the original 1d6 shock.
Yeah, let's see it. Ping! Hey, every little bit counts.
Wonderful.
11 plus 5.
That hurts
16.
pretty damn bad. You'll take off a massive chunk of one of its little spider legs. But it is going to continue its attack, and let's see.
Shooter!
It's not just going to attack, it's going to draw a line on the ground. The line will look like this. Can you see it?
Oh.
Oh no!
like-
don't shoot her.
Like
I take
chalk
it
or
back.
something?
Take it back.
Like that. It's using its plasma lance. That one's for Sarah, and that one's for Taryn.
Just roll well enough and only take half damage, and then you've got fire and electric resistance, so you'll just not take any.
Mm-hmm. Let's see the results.
It's only DC 22. Don't be bad. Yep. you guys are good.
Nice. Okay. So we'll get reduced to 34, and you'll take no damage. And let's see, Taryn will also take no damage. Well done. Well done. That is its whole little move. Peter, your turn.
Hey, I'm gonna charge this one.
Let's see, how much
Yeah.
reach these things have? They have 20 feet of reach. So that will provoke from both of them, just so you know.
Bring it on.
Okay. Yeah.
Miss and a hit.
Oh, you have 1 extra AC against robots, don't you?
Yep, and I have the haste buff active.
Nice guy. Okay. So 17 after your resistances, or before it. I don't know. If you want to punch that in for me.
5, so 12.
Nice. Okay, moving on.
Minus 12. I'm gonna lay on hands real quick. Get that out of the way. Boom. 27 with 8 rounds of fast healing 3.
Okay.
So
I'll let you do all that stuff.
plus 27. And what's that icon on me right now?
In a negative energy.
Oh, Gotcha. And then fast healing for 8 rounds.
Mhm.
Time for the chop. Is this thing evil?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm still using that weapon profile. Just ignore the holy damage at the bottom.
Okay.
Hiya! So, 38 to hit, and blam.
Okay, yeah, its AC is 31, and that will hit, getting through its DR, I'm pretty sure. And let's see, 26, doing numbers real quick. This thing is spitting sparks all over the place. It is on its last of its 6 legs, but it is not destroyed, and it is its turn to swing back. The Annihilator robot will do a full attack, and due to its fun little combined arms ability, we'll get to also use this ability right here. It attacks with its natural weapons and ranged integrated weapons, and they will not provoke attacks of opportunity if they're targeting the person that they would be provoking. So, here's these. Swing and a miss, and then a hit, dealing 12. I'll punch it out. Okay, and now these two. These are touch attacks. Chain guns. Nice. All right. Let's see. Yeah, 5 DR for this. Is it? Maddie.
Yes.
Hello?
So minus
Okay.
10 total out of the combination. So 59. So 49.
All right. That is its entire turn, though. Moving to the top of initiative. It is the Overlord's turn once again. Let me tick down this counter real quick. 1 and 3 more rounds, I get to do that gravity shit again. Let's see. The Overlord
don't.
robot. Huh?
Please don't.
The Overlord robot, what will it do? So many cool things. First-
Earlier that other attack of opportunity would have hit. The negative from charging didn't get calculated in.
Okay, if you want
I had
just,
to click off of it.
Yeah, you
so
go ahead and punch that
11.
in.
So, 100.
What's its movement? 50 feet of movement, is it? It will fly up to here. Lifting off the ground and treading its way over to you at an incredible speed, it will provoke an attack of opportunity, Peter.
I will stew my swing. Is this thing evil?
Yes, it is.
Good. +2 to hit it because it's a holy.
Okay.
So
Oh my glob. You're fucking me. Okay.
Yes, he is.
That'll hit.
my
And it
crit
will
confirm was higher than the actual hit. So yeah, this double this. Do I also double the holy damage, or is that not?
No, it's extra
Okay.
damage.
So it's just 8 additional holy damage, but it's 54 slashing.
Ooh.
And
Oh,
my
Lord.
weapons are good aligned, so bypasses any DR. Most of it anyway, probably.
So, the robot. Let me see here. The Overlord robot does not have DR, but it does have hardness.
Hardness.
20.
Guess what? I
Holy
ignore
shit.
hardness. Less than 20.
Yeah. So, we got a total of 62. So, 42.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, yes.
put
Doesn't
a-
even break its force shield.
I put a chink. Chink.
Yeah. Now,
Starts
it will
vibrating.
swing back with 1 attack from its +3 Vorpal battle axe.
Vorpal?
Take this!
Ow.
Have 29.
It's
Ouch.
fucking what?
This is an evil weapon, just so you know. It is enchanted with mythic power, so it will get through any kind of evil DR you might have.
Okay, so just 3 then. So
Mm-hmm.
so 6 or 26.
All right, that's the first initiative. Sarah.
Ouch.
What you got for me?
I'm gonna try and take out the remainder of these robots.
Alrighty. Oh, you also get 1 health back.
No, because he's down and below max.
Well, he's just downed. He doesn't just like fizzle away. Like he's a dead body on the ground, and he has fast healing.
Yeah, but the thing is, we share fast healing, and we only shared if he is max.
He's not dead. He's unconscious. That means he's fast healing right now.
He's currently fast healing. So you don't get any. Sorry, but he will.
Yeah, he will heal too.
Yeah, whenever he goes down, he just hogs the healing for himself.
Yeah, he actually would have healed. He's up to 4, so one more turn and he can wake up. And
he was brought to -4. So on last round, he would have gone to -2, and on this round, he will go to 0.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway.
Okay.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
What are you gonna do with
Gonna
all that stuff?
smiggity smack. Targeting the big robot, not the Overlord robot. The Annihilator. We're gonna try and kill this bitch.
Oh, you're going for the Annihilator, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ba ba ba.
Ooh, okay. I'm damn sure their touch AC is low. It's 9, so all of those will hit. You wanna give me a haste one?
Yep. Get a point back.
Mercy, my lord, please. I don't deserve this. Damage roll, please. Okay, so yeah.
And then that much electrical.
You'll probably, let's see. Let me add all this real quick. So the first one deals 38 plus 9, so it's 38 plus 9. 48.
47.
47, thank you. Okay, the second one will deal 23 plus 4, so 27. The third one will deal 27, and the third one will kill it, actually.
Good.
Oh, yeah, and the last one, when you want to go into one of these guys, I'm not even going to fucking just pick one.
The bottom one. The bottom one.
How do you kill the both of them?
I just whip it up, bring it down, notice that I want to get through, and I just keep bringing it down in a line.
You know those little tassel things where you like stick it out and just like do your hand in a circular motion, and it makes kind of like a little cyclone of like ribbons and stuff with it? That's basically what you do. This thing slices it to pieces.
You know the motion Tim the Enchanter on Monty Python and the Holy Grail does whenever he's launching fireballs? That's me with the monolith.
Pow, pow. Nice. Vaughn, it is your turn.
Vaughn has the sneaking suspicion that the Overlord is coming at him.
Makes you think that.
Something about the fact that it moved, directly towards him. Is this like is this like something in the way? Like,
yeah.
Okay. In that case,
like there's space under it where like you could fit, but the Overlord is too tall.
Oh, so I could hide under it?
I mean, it could reach you under it. Or it could just flip the fucking thing to get at you.
But that would cost it time. And that is exactly what I need. Okay. Alright. Vaughn is going to... Hang on, how far can we go? 30 is... Okay. Vaughn is a swift action. Is going to spend a point of grit to activate Daring Vault and increases land speed by 20 feet.
Okay.
He's then gonna haul ass 50 feet over here under the thing and begin casting a spell.
Alrighty. So you use your standard action for the first half of a full round action spell. Let's see. The Overlord robot will get its second initiative for this round. It sees you fly away, and it will say...
It seems that your magic friend over there, Vaughn, doesn't care too much for you, Peter.
Let's see. What can it do?
I promise I'm going to help you, Peter.
What's some fun stuff I could do? It gives waves its hand and says to the machines,
Ignore these peons. Kill the follower of the Watcher in the Dark.
and all the robots in unison turn to look at you, Vaughn.
Uh-oh.
And then for its action, it will simply wave a hand towards this crowd and say goodbye. It provokes an attack of opportunity as it's beginning to cast a spell. It does not do so defensively.
The cockiness.
Well, Peter, a 42. That misses.
Well, 45.
45?
Plus 2 because of the holy and 1 because it's a robot.
Ah, that will actually hit then. Let's see a damage then.
Ba, 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 ba.
Woo!
29,
Okay.
33.
What?
Holy.
I see. So 33 minus its
13.
Yeah, 13. So I need to make a concentration check of 28. Wah. All right. Surge with
See.
mythic power. Take this and
God.
parry it, you filthy casual. Meteor swarm.
Oh!
Let's see some reflex saves from 4 meteors I launch at that square.
I believe in you, Taryn.
It's me too.
Let's do this. Let's do this one at a time. Sarah, you're first.
Okay.
Actually, do you want it to be Isama first? Oh, okay, no, go ahead. Keep doing the rest of your reflexes, Sarah. The DC is 27, of course.
Oh, make one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, take the second. Or third. Hey, make 3.
Nice. Okay. How much damage? 6 dice, 6 of fire damage to each. Oh no. Oh, I forgot to read fire damage.
It's also 2
and
dice 6
bludgeoning.
bludgeoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it hits them. If you make a touch attack and it hits them, it's bludgeon.
Oh, he just aimed for a square.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. And such is the way. All right. Let's just do this.
Despite steaming from separate spheres, all the fire damage is added together after their savings have been made. The fire resistance is applied only once.
Ooh.
Oh.
So there
That's
might be some trickle.
So do you only make the save one time?
No.
You make the save for each sphere, but the damage from it is
The
all
resistance. The resistance only triggers once.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I should be good on the resistance then.
Yeah, because you're taking 6 dice 6 full, but then you're taking half of 6 dice 6 3 times.
Yeah. So let's do this part.
I'll
I'll just add it all
after
together.
the damage. I believe.
Is it 6? It is 6 dice 6.
24 d6. Here we go.
No. 18 is going to be half. 6 is not.
That much. Right? 6 dice 6 plus half of 6 dice 6. Oh no. I did there's way more than that.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's half
ignore
of
that roll
18 dice
entirely.
6. Yeah, it's half of 18 dice 6 plus 6 dice 6.
So all of that plus this next number. So 26 plus.
So 24. Take 24 damage.
Yeah, 24 damage, Sarah. Wow, okay. I figured out how a level 9 spell works. Taryn, your turn. Let's see 4 reflex saves. Or do you want Isama to be next?
I will roll, but I want you to know that with every fiber of my being, I hope that you choke on something
not rolling.
small tomorrow.
You're still not rolling.
Let's see it. Let's see those
You
numbers.
still haven't rolled yet, Kyle.
Maddie, I will.
This is a success.
Oh, you gotta do.
Oh, fail.
Oh no.
Here it
A
comes.
success.
Hey.
And
Oh.
a fail. Okay,
Here
so
comes goodbye.
12 and 12.
What? Oh.
He's taking 12 full and 12 half.
So it's 50, 64,
64.
34. Good night, sweet prince.
That's even with my resistances?
Yeah. It's 64 before it. Wah, wah. Negative 13 health. What's your con score?
I'm dead.
He's dead.
Oh, yeah!
Wait,
Isama.
no, my con's 14. I'm alive.
Live. Oh, yeah.
I
It's
run
all
over there
coming
and kick you one good time.
Let's see. Isama.
She makes 2 of them.
Isama makes 2, and then okay.
So same as Kyle, 12 and 12. Ouch.
Oh, half. Lol. So that's 50, 63, 33. Ow! Nice. Good thing you had fire resistance. Cool. That was his second initiative. Isama's turn. Isama freaks the fuck out. And I know exactly what she's gonna do. Vaughn,
Yes.
do you still have the thing where she can cast a spell from you?
Yes.
She's gonna run over to Taryn. And
she
she
has
says,
cure moderate wounds, I think.
she
right?
says, she holds her rifle and her sword in one hand, and she puts one hand up to her and like forms a semantic component with it and starts speaking something in broken Aklo and says, I hope I still know how to do this. And will cast the spell on Taryn.
Yeah, I look like shit. My tongue's
16
hanging
health
out
back,
of
my
mouth.
guy.
Wait. What's that?
You're alive!
I'm on 3 health,
Reroll initiative.
which means I can breathe. I can fight.
Oh, yes. It's all coming together.
It's not a bad initiative.
It's a good initiative, but it means that you can't go this turn.
That's fine. I'm alive. That's all that matters.
The evaluator robot is going to provoke an attack of opportunity as it completely ignores Sarah. And
Die.
goes for Vaughn. Have you rolled? Oh, there it is. That will hit. That will... Let's see. That's enough damage to kill it. God, you ignoring their hardness, it just melts them. Alright. Now all those are gone. Oh, yeah! Peter, what are you gonna do, my guy? You can see that the Annihilator has also turned itself away from you. What you got, Peter? Hey, hey, hey. What you
I'm
got?
laying on hands.
Ah!
I gain 35 back this turn. And it resets my fast healing. Plus 35.
35?
Yes. 28 from regular healing, 5 because I'm not using any of my special mercy
Nice, same
abilities
number.
and my fast
I'm
Oh,
seeing-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm seeing 22. And then
Should
you
be
beat
30.
fast healing.
Should be 30.
Yeah, okay.
I added the 8 rounds instead of the 3.
You added all the numbers together. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So yeah, so it's 101 now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
What will you do?
Kinda need to get rid of this Annihilator so it doesn't go after Vaughn. Can it get to
Please.
Vaughn underneath that ship?
You want to find out?
No, I don't.
Please.
I'll full attack.
Vaughn is hiding under the ship. Please.
He's on there like the spaghetti guy from Tim and Eric's. All right, I'll start the full attack on the Annihilator. Anything else bleeds over to Dick Tits.
The Overlord.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Chim chim cha.
All right, it goes without saying. With 7 health left, the first one kills that one.
Okay,
Dead.
cool. So
And
the second
then
one will go into the Annihilator.
Miss.
37 misses?
Yep, 44 AC.
37, 38, 39. Yeah, it'd be 40. And then that last attack will miss. Daggone it, here's my haste.
It will. Okay, no, it will hit because no, it's a 19 on the die.
Yeah, it's a
Womp,
19
womp.
out of 20. And that's only a 40. That's only a 40. Womp.
What do you know? Something that doesn't just get murked the first round.
Oh, it'd
But
probably, you know what? Swift action. I'm gonna smite now.
You've already used your swift action.
Yeah, I've already used my swift action.
Back to the top of
You're right.
initiative. Let's see if how you like it, Mr. High AC. All right, the Overlord will simply full attack you, Peter. It
Don't
will,
die, Peter.
it will
Are you
not.
You're talking to Sarah because her AC is higher than me, right?
Actually, that's funny.
It currently
What's your
is against Roma.
AC? What's his hit chance? He's going to use power attack to give a -7 but a +14 to damage.
Ah, you would do that, wouldn't you?
Don't
Yeah, I would.
die.
Oh, yeah. All right. I also, just so you all know, I have critical focus, so a +4 to confirmation rolls.
Yep.
So, let's do this, shall we?
Wait, is Peter about to get beheaded?
Hopefully not.
Take this! Well.
Oh no!
So the first one misses, but the second one does hit and confirm.
But it's not a 20. That's all that matters.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yes, if it's a nat 20, I just looked it up.
It's a 19.
Oh god, my nipples. Oh.
So
I got-
78, 25, 100, and what?
That's
102?
103 followed. It's 130. What? That one doesn't hit you. So
Nope.
it's 103.
103 minus 6. 97.
Are you alive?
He has 4
Yes.
health. Now it's time
I-
for its off attacks.
To
2 claws.
quote Josh Rich,
Take
I
this.
have blue balls that you're not dead right
No,
now.
don't worry, I got it for you.
Oh.
He hits with both of his claw attacks, I think. What's your AC against him?
You talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. It is 35, 36.
Yep, both of those will hit you for enough. He will drop you with the first one and then just simply shift towards Sarah.
Oh, you're approaching me.
It puts me at
Negative
20
16.
Negative 16. And then this happens. Ball.
Oh no! Wait! You all okay? Oh, you all watch Peter get dropped to the ground, and the thing just turns away and moves on to the next thing. But then, where's the where's my here we go. The thing turns away from Peter. And then Peter, like, literally just gets, like, slashed to pieces and just falls to the ground as a mess on the ground. Let's see. You are immediately affected by a spell called Breath of Life, Peter.
Yup.
Care to use that spell on yourself?
Sure. Do I have that on my page? I don't think I do. Because I don't have spell slots. Yeah, I don't.
It's 5 die 8 plus 17. Peter stands back up. And our good paladin-y boy over here is filled with determination, as in true what's the fucking name of that game? Undertale. In true Undertale fashion, which the Overlord will then turn around and say,
Impossible.
The news of his death was greatly exaggerated.
That hurt. A lot.
On we go to the next situation. It is now Sarah's turn.
Hey.
In 2 more rounds, I can do that force bubble again.
In 2 more rounds, you can go fuck yourself. Actually, you can do that right now.
Activating Lucky Strike.
Everyone's favorite cigarette?
That's Lucky Stripe.
That's the joke. See, Scott, it's a play on words. That's where the comedy comes in.
What you got
I didn't
for
know
me?
I didn't know you could make
Adding
jokes,
some
Kyle.
stuff in.
I am a joke, Maddie.
That's for sure.
Spell combating.
Yes.
I'm attempting Discharge. Not the gross kind.
Ceaseless discharge?
It needs a DC 20 Fortitude save.
Everyone's favorite Dark Souls
I'm sure
class?
it's paltry, but
Yeah. There you go.
yeah. Hey, I had a chance.
You do that, and the thing doesn't even flinch. It is honestly not even paying attention to you right now. It is looking at Peter.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see the thing is like going.
Statistically improbable. I've removed his skull from
Like he's just going over. Like, how did he do that? Like he doesn't get how Peter didn't die.
Maximizing
Oh, go ahead.
Determination.
4 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lawful, yes?
Yes, it is. It is a lawful evil robot.
Good. This'll feel great.
Mm-hmm. Is that with all of your bonuses added in?
Yes.
The first one hits. Oh wait, no, they're all touch attacks. That's right. Oh no. Oh no, its touch AC is only 22. All of those hit. Oh no. All right, Scott, let's talk about this. Hang on. It's just we don't need. Well, I mean, like, is this where I get to tell you it doesn't have an issue with electricity?
Is this where I get to tell you that I rolled less than 10 on each of these?
That hurt. Vaughn, what are you doing, my guy?
1 second. Vaughn's turn comes around, and his spell finishes.
That's a lot of fucking damage, my guy.
Nice.
And I think I wanna get that one, right? Right? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Vaughn finishes casting Summon Monster 7.
Oh! What are you summoning?
Ah, man, I rolled a 1. He's summoning something off of the 6th level list.
Oh?
But as the spell finishes, he activates his legalistic curse
Oh shit.
to add 4 to that die roll of 1 for the 6th level list. And 5 shadow demons appear out of the ground around the Overlord robot.
Kozus is there just tallying them off. He's like, here you are, sign here.
Oh no. For those the uninitiated, this is a fucking shadow demon. And Vaughn summoned 5 of them into this fight.
My head's just gonna snap over at Chaz. It's like, what are you doing? You know I don't like demons.
And
At this point, I post that meme again.
And then
For the case of moving things along, they're each going to act as a group, if that makes sense.
okay. And then to the shadow demons. Let's see. They They speak. Yeah, they speak common. I thought they speak common. To the Shadow Demon. Says, become more than you are.
Oh.
And the Shadow Demons, on their turns, are going
We're gonna merge.
to use their casting of Shadow Conjuration on themselves to cast Alter Summoned Monster, fail their own saves against it,
Oh shit!
and become let's see, what are they again? Oh right, Movanic Deva Angels.
You've been playing too much Yu-Gi-Oh, Chaz. This is some Yu-Gi-Oh shit. I need you to stop right now.
Okay.
What is happening?
On your turn, the demons all in unison simply go out and say,
By your will, our Dark Lord.
and do exactly as you've instructed. Simply begin chanting, and the robot will definitely attack one of them, as is its purview.
Yeah, of course.
It will slay one of the things.
Yeah.
So do they all become one?
No, they each have castings of Shadow Conjuration, and they can each cast them on themselves, and each of them becomes a Movanic Deva Angel.
Okay, because at this point I tell you that if they're each casting that, I have combat reflexes and I can hit each one of them. So,
Sad.
okay, so let's do this.
I thought they were about to fucking Megazord for a second. and
Yeah, I got excited, I'm not gonna lie.
I could have told them to 5-foot step back first. My bad.
I mean, it could still reach.
Man, is it? Wait, actually, is it spells or is it a supernatural ability? Let me check real quick. There's spell-like abilities. Do spell-like abilities
Yes,
provoke?
They do.
Okay.
They act like spells, they just don't have components.
Yeah.
Let's see. None of them.
Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot, Marty. This is pretty important. Can he hit incorporeal things?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Shadow demons are incorporeal.
Let me look at this. Hang on. Yeah, it's a magical weapon, therefore they can be hit by it.
And it does what? A quarter damage?
Half damage. So, that's actually not enough to kill that one then.
Oh no, they're about to digivolve.
Oh lord.
God, Chaz is pendulum summoning.
Okay, let me buff one and then delete the rest and copy it over.
Let's see, Movanic Deva Angels. They're pretty solid. They got some stuff they can do. Like,
Okay.
Holy Smite's pretty good.
I am going to say that they do not become angels. They just have the abilities of the angels, and anything that's like holy becomes like evil. Because I'm sorry, but like a demon's not going to by your goofiness turn into an angel.
But they can.
No,
Chaz, stop
that's
playing
what I
Yu-Gi-Oh.
say. No. It's Charles Blair, ladies and gentlemen. This fucking guy. Okay. Also, it goes without fucking saying, fucking Salt is at 0 health. God damn it. This is fucking goofy shit.
Wait.
No, he hasn't had his turn yet. I'm still fucking doing the math and bookkeeping on this shit. Okay.
Sorry.
I know, it's fine. It's just had to do some things. That will
Are
be
you
their
sorry,
turn. They all get hit, and they'll all do the damage. Moving on, let's see. Dude. What was their initiative? It was 28? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the turn. Terran, what do you do, my guy?
Well, other than like sit there and like scratch my beard insensibly at watching these fucking demons digivolve, and watch Vaughn go through an entire Yu-Gi-Oh turn, I Taryn just says, "I'm glad I'm a simple man. You know, just blow things up. That's all I have to do. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm gonna cast prismatic spray." And I'm going to also use my selective metamagic feed on it.
So you can make only one target be affected by it?
Yep.
Okay. Roll me a die 8. Do I negate that or some shit?
No, you get saves for the abilities.
Does it have spell resist?
Yeah, does it have spell resist? I think it would.
I mean,
I think prismatic spray.
I pulled this directly from
is
the
subject to spell resistance, but I'm not sure.
Looking it up.
Yep, same.
Yes, it does. 25 spell resistance, if you don't mind.
I do mind, but you'll get it anyway.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Okay. The saving throw. I need to know the beam color, so die 8.
Yep. Come on, send him to a different plane of existence.
A 5. That is
Flesh the stone.
It doesn't have flesh. So you turn nothing into nothing. You hit it with a powerful spell, but the Overlord is a bit too distracted with whatever the fuck is going on around it.
I'm like, yes, flesh the stone. Wait. Shit.
Yeah. The Overlord is fucking mad about what you've done. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm thinking here. This is a tricky situation you've got me into, my dude.
That was the idea.
Yeah. Well.
All of my monster zones are full.
Fucking Yogg-Sothoth is probably like reading his paper, and he like looks over into his cereal bowl to see how the time stream is going and how Vaughn's doing. And he just sees this shit. And he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's about par for the course. Let's see,
It's like double checks. He's like, "Wait, you can do that? Oh shit,
you can do that."
There we go. Yeah, he's just simply going to full attack
That's understandable.
these things.
So do they have the health of the?
Yeah, like statistically, I pulled over the monadic data.
Cool.
Okay, I'll do the numbers and such. If you wanna, Isama's next. Let's just do Isama's turn. Take this. Pew 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 pew. It's 22. I'll do the numbers. Scott, what does Salt do? He gets to 2 health.
Heal, Salt, heal!
Okay, you do that for me, please, while I crunch these numbers.
Absolutely. Cure serious wound.
Oh, no, wait. Hilariously, the Overlord is immune to cold.
Sad.
So Polar Ray will be useless now. It's
He
good to
gets
know.
14 health back. And
Should
I
cast
get
it anyway,
13
just to be
health
safe,
back.
Kyle.
Yeah,
Right.
cast another spell that does nothing, Taryn.
Look, man, it could have done something if I got to teleport him to a different plane.
Probably would have just Deus Ex Machina told you no.
Or he probably would have teleported back instantly. Like, I would have been like, "See, guys, crisis averted. I didn't have to blow it up." And then he pops back up right behind me.
What the fuck did you just say to me? You
Just turns like, "Nutty."
All right. Again, you two split the healing, so.
Yeah, he got 14, I got 13.
Gotcha. All right. Moving right along. Peter, what you gonna do?
Oh boy. Does Smite get through hardness? I don't think it does. Let's look. Da 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 da. Smite outside bonus. Regardless, the target's smite attacks all has past any DR. Yeah, no, it doesn't get through
Oh,
hardness.
Okay. Remember when I said when you're attacking a group, every time you get a 5 or more on an attack, it'll hit another thing in the unit?
Yeah.
So that triggers with every single attack you make. So so it did enough damage to kill one, and every single attack hit so high it hit every member of the unit. So he's dead. However, fuck you for making me waste an entire fucking initiative. I was gonna cast a cool spell, or
What's the idea?
you fucking animal. God, you.
He fucking turned into a Beyblade.
Alright, first
We're
thing
just-
is that.
Turned into like a Bakugan.
The Overlord was so mad that he became a Beyblade. Enough of your shit!
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, what's the next anime that we can reference in this game?
Card Captor Sakura. Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're the opposite of that character. You're shitting me.
Fuck, Sarah, I need you to drop your training weights.
And Peter's Tenchi Muyo.
I don't know what that is.
I
Is
don't
that
know
a
either
sauce?
what I don't. Is that a sauce?
Okay, you use lay on hands, Peter, quickly. We have
Hear me
much
out.
time.
Peter needs to have his training arc.
I'm gonna full attack, and I need
Give
someone
me
else to
the
help me.
K-Pasa. You are flanking. I'll let you know.
Okay, I didn't put it up.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it.
They all hit except for the last one.
Yeah.
Doesn't confirm, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, dang. Oh, jeez. Oh,
jeez,
wow.
Rick.
Oh, and that
Ah!
hits. With
Ah!
that. Just take that first holy damage.
Okay, so we've got 34, so 14. Plus 35, 15. That doesn't confirm, so 34, 14. And then it's going to miss. And that's going to hit.
And then 29, so
29,
19.
so 9.
No, 9. Yeah. No.
Yeah, just 9. 52. We're hurting.
Yeah,
We're
this
hurting,
thing's
Chief.
thick.
We're hurting. But we're still living. Damn it. I live. It's my turn. It knows that there is one person here that is a danger to it at the moment that it can reach.
Bring it on.
Gladly. Or no, it says.
Gladly.
And then it's going to proceed to open you up, much like Terran does on a nightly basis.
Ew!
And
Just that goblin, though.
die. Wait.
Hit.
One
Miss. Hit. Miss.
Oh yeah.
57.
Now hang on. What's your It's against chaotic? No, it's against lawful.
It's DR10 lawful, and it's lawful.
It counts as a lawful weapon as well. So yeah. So 27 plus 57.
I die.
Yeah. Dead. Actually dead. Salt spawns into the ether and goes ah! As he just is gone.
And again!
Wait! No! You have mirror image.
I have mirror image.
God, watch him just get an 8 and a 7.
So it's like, why? Why does this keep happening? Oh god. Okay, so the one that hits you, you have how many mirror images?
I rolled. Oh God. Scrolling
No,
forever.
I marked it on your thing. You have four
Oh,
images.
yeah, okay, 4.
So one might hit, let's see, on a 5. Okay, it knocks out a mirror. And
I
then
don't die regardless.
The second attack will just knock out another mirror. The third attack might hit you on a 3. It knocks out a mirror, and then the fourth one will just straight up miss. Now, have fucking 2 claws. Wait, that's an Annihilator robot. Give me the big one.
Boy.
Let's see, on a 2. Oh, it actually hits you. And then on a 2. Okay, so it knocks out the last of your mirrors.
I take 21 damage.
But you're alive!
But I'm alive!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah! Next round, I can use the fucking gravity bomb again.
If you live.
Fucking try me, bitch. Your turn.
Maximize Mono Whip for 2 of my hits.
I fucking dare you. Come at me.
I am.
AC 22. You'll miss all of them. You'll never make it.
The first one.
Oh, it's a hit.
The second one.
Oh, that's also a hit.
The damage for the 2 maximized.
Well,
With a total of,
isn't
47.
Isn't
40.
Isn't this embarrassing? You see, you don't need to make the rest of those attacks. How do you destroy the Overlord robot?
Sorry, my child came in my room and screamed
I
like a
heard.
hellion.
That's
It was
cute.
horrid.
Yeah, that was me screaming at the fucking damage.
That was Sarah screaming at the fucking claw attack. I jump up on this thing. I wrap the fucking Mono Whip around it. I grab hold of the other side, and it digs into me, and I
Yeah.
pull the Mono Whip and rend this thing's head off.
Yeah, it grabs hold, like, you jump onto it, and it, like, a Shadow of the Colossus style, like, grabs at you, and it, you all see it, like, grab Sarah and just crush her in one of its giant metal claws. But when it opens its hand, there's nothing there as the after image glows away, and then it, like, turns its head to the side too late to have it, how do you kill it again?
I'm gonna take some damage. I'm gonna take 18 damage from my maximized hit as I rip this thing's head off with the Mono Whip in both hands. You know that scene where, in Endgame where, you know, they show killing baby Thanos by wrapping a cord around its neck?
Yeah, you garrot it.
Yeah.
Lord. Done. And done. This brings an end to combat. Oh. Oh. I had you. So close, I had you.
Only you
I
hadn't wasted
never
a
scared.
turn.
If only I hadn't wasted that round. If only. The Unity begins to say,
This is statistically improbable. You can lie.
as it falls to the ground, a mess, and the gigantic glowing orb that is its singular oculus simply deactivates. And finally, a voice renders through the room. And it says, to the lot of you, you all have done very well for creatures so puny. To be gears in the grease, as to say, you have my full attention. So, if you would dare, face me in the god mind so I may fight you at my full potential and rid you of this existence that definitely belongs to me. You are no longer deserving of unity. You are deserving of an atomization. And it's at that, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to bring an end to tonight's game. that was a fun one.
That was a great fight.
I would like to take this chance to say thank you all for anyone who was able to make their way all the way through to the end of this episode. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, be sure to leave a comment, and possibly even subscribe. And if it so is your purview, commit a terrible atrocity on that bell icon. My name is Luke Kenny, and I am the DM that you can find on Tuesdays. And from left to right, we have Sarah Hitchkin, the killer of robots.
Goodbye, everybody.
Peter Hastings, the survivor of robots.
Yes.
Darren Gates, the destroyer of plans. And Von Warren Eyes, the fucking mess. Damn you. Damn you all. I'll kill you. I'll do it. I swear to God. We're at Take 10 Gaming. We play Pathfinder on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, nights, and Sundays, rather. Excuse me, not Saturdays. You can find us here at 6:30 Central Time, 4:30 Pacific. If we're gonna use that time for a lot of the viewers we may or may not have.
People don't live there.
I know. And what's that? And 9 o'clock Pacific time on Thursday nights. It's our late night game whenever we actually do have it. We've skipped a couple. But yeah. Next time, come find us next time as our heroes begin the venture into the God Mind and face Unity on its home ground. But with that out of the way, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night, everybody.